Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Monday, the 2nd of November. Indefinite curfew imposed in southern Nepal after Madhesi protest turns violent. Ansarullah Bangla team behind Bangladeshi publisher's murder suspect police. And Maldives government rejects FBI report on president's boat blast. And now for all the details. Curfew has been imposed in southern Nepal after protest by the ethnic Madhesi community turned violent on Monday. The region has been witnessing violent protest for over 2 months against the newly adopted constitution of Nepal.
The local administration has imposed an indefinite curfew after protests along the Birganj-Raxaul border between Nepal and India turned violent, resulting in the death of a person. Several protesters sustained injuries when security forces fired rubber bullets to disperse them. Police was forced to resort to firing after demonstrators started pelting stones at them. The Madhesi protesters had taken control of a checkpoint near the border on Monday morning after it was opened for stranded trucks to cross over to India. While trucks made entry to India, protesters did not allow trucks to cross over to Nepal from the Indian side.
सुबह से गाड़ियां आ रही हैं और इधर में तो कोई दिक्कत है नहीं. इधर पुलिस वाले भी और एसएसपी वाले ये प्रशासन लोग हैं लगे हुए.
The truck drivers were delighted as they crossed over to India amid heavy police security.
हो गए यहाँ नेपाल में आए हुए फंस गए थे जाम के कारण. आज हम इंडिया में बहुत आके खुशी हुए हैं, जा रहे अपना परिवार से मिलने के लिए. बहुत हमें खुशी हो रहा इस बात सुन के कि आज जो बॉर्डर खुल गया है.
The major demands of the Madhesi front include redrawing the demarcation of the federal provinces and better representation in the federal charter.
Meanwhile, Bangladesh police are suspecting the involvement of banned militant outfit Ansarullah Bangla team behind the murder of publisher Faisal Arifin Dipan. He was the publisher of Bangladeshi American atheist writer Avijit Roy, who was hacked to death earlier this year.
Faisal Arifin Dipan, who ran a publishing house, was hacked to death in his office in Dhaka on Saturday. The attack came hours after another publisher and 2 bloggers were injured in similar attacks. Investigators suspect that the Ansarullah Bangla team, which had carried out similar attacks on liberals and secular writers in Bangladesh in the past, could be behind Dipan's murder. The outfit had owned up for recent killings of a number of progressive writers in the country. The Al-Qaeda-inspired outfit had claimed that the slain writers were targeted for their criticism on Islam. At least 15 members of the militia, including its chief, are currently behind bars facing trial in various murder cases. 7 bloggers, a liberal-minded professor and a publisher have been killed in the last 2.5 years in Bangladesh. 5 were slain this year alone. These include Avijit Roy, Washikur Rahman, Ananta Bijoy Das and Niloy Chatterjee. Predominantly Islamic Bangladesh has seen a rise in radicalism in recent years, especially targeting those holding liberal and secular views.
Moving on to news from Afghanistan, a faction of the Afghan Taliban opposed to Mullah Akhtar Mansoor has declared Mullah Muhammad Rasul as its head. The move comes after months of negotiations over the elevation of Mansoor to replace Mullah Omar as Taliban chief collapsed.
Taliban senior commander Mullah Muhammad Rasul, who was among those refused to pledge allegiance to Mullah Akhtar Muhammad, will be the new leader of the splinter group. The faction, which calls itself as the High Council of Afghanistan Islamic Emirate, also appointed another influential commander, Mullah Mansoor Dadullah, as his deputy. The appointment of new commanders escalates the ongoing leadership crisis within the militia following the confirmation of Mullah Omar's death in July. Even though Omar's deputy Mullah Akhtar was chosen as the new chief, many including top commanders and Omar's family had opposed his elevation. Some had also claimed that Omar was killed by Akhtar. The latest development comes at a time when the official faction of the Taliban is engaged in a fierce battle with the security forces in many parts of Afghanistan. Many also feel that differences over leadership within the Taliban could strengthen other militant groups like the Islamic State in the region and discourage Mansour from resuming peace talks with the Afghan government.
Staying on news from the country, the Asian Development Bank, together with donor countries, has announced a new grant of $858 million for Afghanistan. The ADB is the leading and largest infrastructure development partner of Afghanistan. Officials said the announced grant would be used on infrastructure building from 2017 to 2020. The financial contributions by the ADB and donor countries aims to promote economic growth, energy transmission, private sector investment and build and run infrastructure to promote security and development in Afghanistan. Afghanistan has been heavily dependent on international donations to keep its economy running following the decades of war. The Maldives government has rejected an FBI investigation that there was no evidence of bomb on President Abdullah Yamin's speedboat. At least 10 people, including Vice President Ahmed Adib, have been arrested in connection with the case so far.
The Maltese government said the FBI's conclusion was in contrast to the findings of an international investigation team which is probing the blast. The FBI had in its report stated that there was no conclusive evidence to the presence of an explosive device in the boat. Maltese police had recovered a huge cache of weapons, including firearms and improvised explosive devices, reportedly from an island leased to a close associate of arrested Vice President Adib. 7 people have also been arrested in connection with the incident. Adib, who was arrested last month for his alleged role in the blast, is now facing impeachment. He has, however, claimed innocence and said it would be proven by an impartial inquiry. The blast happened on September 28th when President Yamin and his family were returning from Hajj. Even though initially it was reported that a technical failure caused the explosion, Maldives had constituted a team of international experts to probe the incident.
The new government of Hafiz Hafizur Rahman in Gilgit-Baltistan had come to power making tall promises. But locals claim that their much-hyped 100-day action plan has failed to take off.
Hafiz Hafizur Rahman's new government has been in power in Gilgit-Baltistan for more than 100 days now. But locals are disappointed as they claim that the new government is no better and the region is beset with the same problems. A large swathe of Gilgit-Baltistan continues to remain in darkness due to long hours of power cuts as no repair work has been carried out by the new government.
बिजली की जहाँ तक बात की जाए तो उन्होंने सूबाई गवर्नमेंट ने ये दावा किया था कि 100 दिनों के इस इस्लाहाती एजेंडे में हम गिलगित शहर में बिजली की लोड शेडिंग का जो है ख़ात्मा करेंगे। अगर मुकम्मल ख़ात्मा नहीं कर सके तो बिजली की लोड शेडिंग के दौरानिया जो है उसमें बहुत ही कमी हम करेंगे। तो इस हवाले से हम देखते हैं कि इस वक्त भी गिलगित शहर में 8 घंटे की लोड शेडिंग जो है जारी है। बिजली की लोड शेडिंग में कोई जो है कमी हमें देखने को नहीं मिल रही है।
The healthcare facilities are also crippled and patients have no means to get themselves treated of serious illnesses. Hospitals remain poorly staffed and are not well equipped to deal with emergency cases.
के हवाले से इस वक्त गिलगित बल्तिस्तान के जो है महकमा सेहत में इस्लाहाती एजेंडे में जो उनका टारगेट था उसके अंदर गिलगित बल्तिस्तान ने MRI मशीन की ख़रीदारी, इसके साथ साथ इमराज कलब का जो हस्पताल गिलगित में तामीर होने जा रहा था उसके साथ साथ अस्पतालों में जो है अद्वियात की फराहमी को यकीनी बनाना, इसके साथ डॉक्टरों की कमी को जो है पूरा करना, ये सारे जो है उनके 100 दिनों के हुकूमत के एजेंडे में शामिल थे। लेकिन ताहम इस वक्त तक नहीं है MRI मशीन गिलगित बल्तिस्तान में लाई जा चुकी है, नहीं इमराज कलब के अस्पताल का संग बुनियाद रखा गया है।
People in Gilgit-Baltistan, which was annexed by Pakistan illegally, have been waiting for years for a better administration that could work for the region's development. But their disappointment has grown into anger as the administration shows no political will to improve the current situation.
As e-commerce giants in India are all set to do brisk business during the festive season, employees in the companies are equally excited. Reason being the bonus that are being offered to keep them motivated.
Major e-commerce players like Flipkart, Snapdeal and Amazon are out with deep discounts to woo customers. But it's also about making sure things move smoothly at the warehouses. With last year delivery glitches in mind, both the logistic firms and e-commerce giants are offering perks to motivate their employees to go that extra mile.
The festival season is upon us. This is the busiest time of the year in terms of business which is made. We have a lot of clients that are banking on us. We have crafted a lot of initiatives and incentives with great care and great attention, and we hope our delivery boys will like them. There's one single initiative which we are very excited about, and that is gifting a career. We have crafted an initiative where the top performing delivery boys at the end of the month will be imparted computer coaching, English coaching and soft skills training.
Job recruiters have hailed the initiative, calling it a step in the right direction. Extra money for small town employees will be a big motivation factor.
The segment of the employees that we are talking about is a fairly salary sensitive segment. So as a result, any kind of infusion in terms of monetary benefits as well as any other fringe benefits that organizations are able to give, it's very easy to retain people, also motivate them to work in that direction.
The hiring process takes a lot of planning, so it is started long before the festive season. This gives both the employee and the employer enough time to be ready.
Spike in hiring happens much before the festive season, right? Because the way we plan for the demand uptake which will happen in during the festive season, and based that we figure out that what kind of teams we need to have in place, and basis that we go ahead into the market and hire for those folks. But this happens much before the festive season, almost 6 to 9 months back. So during the festive season, all our teams are already on board and we are going all guns blazing.
The festive period accounts for about 60% of the year's sale. With major players vying to grab a lion's share, they can't afford to go wrong this time. Nidhi Rai, South Asia Newsline, Mumbai.
Sri Lanka agreed to enhance ties with Thailand by cooperating in various sectors. This comes as the new government in Colombo is trying to reach out to more countries.
Sri Lankan President Maithripala Sirisena, who arrived in Thailand on Sunday for a 4-day state visit, held talks with Thai Prime Minister General Prayut Chan-o-cha. The talks aim to enhance bilateral cooperation between the two countries in areas of economics, politics, culture and religion, as well as boost tourism. The visit also marked the 60th anniversary of diplomatic ties between the two predominantly Buddhist countries. President Sirisena appealed the Thai business community to make use of the investment opportunities in his country. As Sri Lanka gradually moves towards political stability after decades of civil war, its new government has been pulling all stops to attract investments and strengthen its diplomatic ties.
The provincial government in Pakistan's Punjab has challenged the Supreme Court order which banned the hunting of endangered bird Hubra bustard. Earlier, the federal government had also filed a review petition in the case. The Supreme Court had in August asked the government to enforce international conventions on conservation. Pakistan has come under fire from conservationists for granting permits for hunting bustards to wealthy Gulf Arabs, for whom falconry is a revered cultural tradition. In 2014 alone, over 2,100 of these endangered birds were killed in various hunting safaris. According to the International Union for Conservation of Nature, there is less than 97,000 Hubra bustards left in the world, and it is put under the red list, indicating that the birds are an endangered species. Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. Indefinite curfew imposed in southern Nepal after Madhesi protest turns violent. Ansarullah Bangla team behind Bangladeshi publisher's murder suspect police. And Maldives government rejects FBI report on President boat blast. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.